Hey everybody, Logan here, and today I'm addressing a topic from a post that I put up. I wanted to know, basically, who wants to know what are the best ways or practices in collecting either Nintendo Switch, Nintendo 64, or GBA, the Game Boy Advance, and overwhelmingly, the Switch won. So, I've been thinking about this for a while. That's why I put up this post. Because a lot of people have addressed questions and stuff like that about my collection, especially the Switch collection, how I managed to get so many, and there aren't even that many out there, and you must have like triples and quadruples and 10 copies of... No, I don't. So, I'm gonna say we're gonna poo-poo all over that, just go throw it away. And what we're going to do is we're gonna address simple things of basically, how do you want to collect? And that's what we're going to talk about. Do you want a massive collection? Do you just want a solid collection? Do you want an expensive collection? Or do you want a digital collection? No, I'm just... So, with that being said, I'm going to address all those topics. And, well, buckle in. This might be a long one.
Welcome to Bandana Gaming, the channel where Logan will show you everything from gameplay to gear. Their crew is here to take you on a journey through every atmosphere. Releases to news, you don't have to choose. Red Bandana Gaming is here for you.
Okay, so first we're going to address, do you want to collect physical or do you want to collect digital? Simple thing is, if you want to collect digital, you grab your Switch, whichever one you want, whether it's the Lite or the standard Switch being the regular or the OLED, doesn't really matter. You need to make sure you have a large enough memory card for one of these. So get your, 512, 1 terabyte. The Switch supports up to a terabyte. Last time I checked, I haven't seen anything about them upgrading to a 2 terabyte support. If they have, drop it in the comments below. Leave me a link or something so I can see exactly what Nintendo said. Because even on the 1 terabyte, there's certain speeds that they prefer. The faster, the better. So if you can get a large enough memory card, bam, you got all your stuff right there. Just download them from the eShop. Video done. But no, that's if it's how to collect digitally, which we're not doing. We're discussing mainly how to assemble such a large, or just a physical collection. It doesn't have to be large. What I always tell people is, look at your passion first. What do you want to do with your collection? Do you just want to get the bangers that you think are the best? Or do you want to just have as many games as you can? Or do you want to have just a massive value? So, first we are going to basically look at how to do it if you just want the bangers. If you want your favorites. If you want your favorites, it's going to be easy. Keep an eye on them. Keep an eye on gaming websites. Keep an eye on gaming channels. Hello? Red Bandana Gaming. Subscribe if you haven't. What you do is you just keep an eye out on what's coming out that you like. I always say go to your local game store, but sometimes you can't always do that. If you're going to buy games, honestly, Walmart, I hate saying this, Walmart's a good option because the games are usually anywhere from $2 to $10 less on new releases. Can you really blame me there? If you want to get more for your value, Walmart's really going to companies like GameStop and Best Buy in terms of prices. Another thing you can always do is keep an eye on sales, because the games that you may want, even if it's a new release, remember, it may not last too long on the shelves. They might have a limited shelf life because they only throw out so many. There's a number of games like that. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, for example, and that went up in value, but we're going to talk about that later on. So if you want to get the bangers, get your favorites first, then get them as cheap as you can when they come out. That's the easiest way to do it. And then over time, you're going to see your collection just start growing. Now, if you just want to grow just a massive collection, and you don't really care what's in it, best thing to do, local game shops. Goodwill is rare. You're gonna find very old stuff. Switch stuff, it's almost impossible, but it isn't impossible. If you go to what are they called? Pawn shops. Believe it or not, pawn shops can give you a number of Switch games. You're probably not going to get some of the best, but they're cheap. Another thing is you go check on websites, eBay. You go to Best Buy or GameStop during their big sales, and then you can just rack up as many as you want. If you go to GameStop, especially with the pre-owned older or niche titles or the ones that are kind of almost like shovelware, then you can get those 14, 15, 20, 25 bucks, and you can just get as many as you can, and then you can rack up a massive collection. I'd be lying if I said I haven't bought a number of those. I have, because I like seeing the different types of games, and my wife, for example, loves puzzle games like that, so those happen to be, I guess, in that cheaper end category, which all helps to build a larger collection. And another thing, if you're looking at building cheap, and it will touch on the expensive collection, check out Limited Run. What? You're like, Limited Run's expensive. No, they're not. Limited Run games are expensive after they've been shipped. While you're still waiting for them, while you can pre-order them on their website, you're looking at games starting around $25, $35 in that price range. Yeah, then they start going up 50 collector's editions, and it all depends on what you're looking for, but that's a good way to get decent games cheap. Yes, you can buy a lot of those digitally for significantly less, maybe half to a quarter of the price, but you're not racking up a collection like that. So, with that being said, that's how you do your digital. That's how you get your bangers. And that's how you build a large collection. But most people really want to know, okay, if I'm going to spend money on these games, I want there to be some kind of value, some kind of return. Personally, like me, it's nice to have value, but I like to have these games that I know that are good, and they just bring, I guess you say, pleasure and enjoyment to say, hey, I've got this good game, and I've played it, and it's fantastic, and yeah, it has value. And another one, another repeat, I'm going to say it, limited run games. Now, limited run games, depending on where you live, you can only get them online. There are stores that do, I guess, partner with them, you would say, and be local distributors. We have one in Central Florida, and you can buy them there. And then there are other companies, other smaller game stores that buy, I guess, in bulk from Limited Run, and then once they get them in, they sell them, they upsell them. Yes, they do. Of course, they have to make a profit. They're paying exactly what Limited Run's asking for them, and they'll charge you $10, $15, $20 above what they paid for them, because yeah, there's a market for it, and you know they have to make up shipping costs and time and all that other stuff. But what I usually tell people to do, order straight from Limited Run. Have that page bookmarked. Yeah, some games you won't get for a year, some games you'll get in a couple months, you know, and that's what I do. I really like certain games, like for example, I ordered the Castlevania collection. I ordered, what was it? The Double Dragon games, Neon and Double Dragon 4. But if you try to buy them in a store, and make sure you're ordering the ones that aren't available at Best Buy. Because if you can order the ones that end up becoming distributed through Best Buy, because Best Buy has a partnership with them, you're going to get it for the same price, but you're going to get an alternate cover. And usually the ones that come from Limited Run have a larger value in the long haul. Now, there are certain games which lose value, like say the Power Rangers fighting game. Limited Run released it, and then they released it again through Best Buy, and then a third-party publisher picked it up and released variation after variation after variation. Unless you got that collector's edition, it's just the value of it just kind of like, so sometimes you run into that wall, but that's rare. That's extremely rare. So what I usually tell people if you want to build a collection that has value, go after first-party titles if you're buying them at retail. Because Nintendo titles, as long as they're published, again, like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, any of the Mario titles, Fire Emblem, they all retain their values. So it's not like, say, God of War, Gears of War, Halo, or any of those first-party titles from Microsoft or Sony, or Ghost of Tsushima, something like that. They may be all great titles, but in the long haul, they hold zero value unless you have like a collector's edition or something like that. So if you buy collector's editions more often than not hold value. I have plenty of those. But limited run, buy limited released versions like day one, something like that. Those tend to have more value unless it's just DLC added, because then once you go to resell, there's no DLC to add if you've already redeemed the code. So you got to look at that. But again, like I said, if you want to have large value in your collection, limited run, there's other companies like Strictly Limited, but for those of us in the States, it makes it a little more of a pain because of shipping and everything like that. But if you're in the UK, that's a great place. There's all kinds of different little publishers like Limited Run, but Limited Run's the big one. They put out a lot of titles that are extremely affordable, but you need to buy them ahead of time. Otherwise, once you go to buy them at retail or buy them on eBay or Amazon from a third party or something like that, you're going to be paying large prices, and you don't want to do that. So if you want your, well, let me reel this back. You may not want to do it, but then again, I'm sure there's some of you out there that are just like, I don't care, I can afford to do it, I'll just buy it. And then there are games like Oceanhorn and Oceanhorn 2, but if you know, you know. Those games just went through the roof for no reason, but hey, decent Zelda clones, but hey, those aren't games you can get cheap now. But if you want to start it, remember, digital, get yourself a large memory card, download everything, wait for sales, cool. If you want to get all the bangers, day one, Nintendo titles, if they're first party, they rarely, if ever, go down in price. So you can buy them at Walmart. But hey, and you'll usually get them for $2 to $10 less. Usually, not always. Usually, not online though. And if you want to, just amass a large collection, buy what you can, cheap, secondhand, pre-owned, whatever you want online. Just go for the cheapest ones you can get, and bam, you're gonna have a red wall in no time. And finally, a large or just a heavy and strong value collection, well, then you're just going to have to buy limited run, strictly limited, collector's editions, stuff like that. And then, yes, your collection will retain value. And then, hey, if you ever want to sell it, Switch games. Now, one thing is, after all that being said and done, there is something you will notice that some people refer to as the Switch tax, which, because they come on cartridges, because your system will only support cartridges, you are going to pay more than if you would get its Xbox or PlayStation brethren, unless it's PS5, because we know they liked up the prices on those, but that'll change. We know that'll change. Anything printed on disc is usually cheaper than something printed on a cartridge. So you are looking at a more expensive collection that way. But, for example, if you do buy something on the Switch and then you get the, say, Xbox or PlayStation version, the Switch version usually retains more of a value just because, well, there's a couple of different reasons. They print less because they think people won't buy as many, or they print less because it costs them more to print on a cartridge. So there you go. But if you have any questions now, after all that being said and done, Drop it in the comments below. I'll be glad to answer anything that you guys, want to know. And how I've collected mine. Like I said, I've mixed all three of those variations to create my collection. And if you guys haven't seen it, check out my Switch collection video. It isn't technically up to date now because it came out a number of months ago, and I have been buying a number of games through the holidays. My wife has got me some games through the holidays and stuff like that. So new releases, you guys have seen it. If you follow the Instagram, you know I've added a number of games to my collection. But again, thank you guys so much. Again, if you have questions, feel free to drop it in the comment section below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this video. That really helps. Head on over to our spring shop. Link in the description below where you can get all kinds of great Red Bandana gaming merchandise, t-shirts, phone cases, socks, hats, you name it. It would really help out the channel, help us keep this going. Whew. Again, hit that subscribe button. Like we always say, be legendary. Thanks again.